Imagine spending like 4 entire months building just the absolute perfect business.
Oh, yeah. We've all seen this.
Right. You've got this flawless, mobile-optimized website. You've got a stunning logo you commissioned online. And what else? A whole box of freshly embroidered, branded polo shirts just sitting in your living room.
The branded polos are always the giveaway.
Exactly. So you launch, and for all that effort, you get exactly 0 customers.
Yep. Crickets.
Meanwhile, the guy next door makes thousands of dollars in his first month using nothing but a phone number, an asking price, and like a $6 stack of printer paper stuffed into local mailboxes.
It's crazy, but it happens every day.
It really does.
Yeah.
So today we're doing a deep dive into why looking like a quote-unquote real business is actually the fastest way to kill one.
It is, it's a profound paradox, really. I mean, we've been conditioned to believe that the infrastructure of a business, so the branding, the digital footprint, the LLC, that those things are the business.
Right.
But building the container before you have anything to put inside it is just a very common, very expensive mistake.
And the author of the source material we are diving into today learned that lesson the hard way. The book is called How to Start a Small Business That Actually Makes Money.
Great title. Very to the point.
Yeah, no fluff. We're focusing specifically on the framework she outlines in episode 5, the 30-day launch. So the author, KJ, she's actually a data scientist.
Right. She spent years as a senior software engineer in Silicon Valley.
Exactly. So she was living this life built entirely on, logic, deterministic outcomes, and this meticulously crafted 10-year career plan.
Which honestly sets up an incredible psychological collision course.
Oh, completely.
Because when you build your entire identity around predictable algorithms and corporate security, the real world just has a funny way of introducing absolute chaos.
Chaos is the perfect word for it.
Yeah.
I mean, she woke up on a Monday morning with that 10-year plan totally intact, and by Friday afternoon, she was completely laid off. Yeah. Her startup collapsed overnight, and suddenly her immigration status was hanging by a thread. So she entered what she refers to as the messy middle.
The messy middle. It's a fascinating psychological space.
Yeah, how so?
Well, when people experience a sudden loss of control, like a massive layoff, the immediate human instinct is to just frantically grasp for anything that provides a sense of agency.
Right, you want to feel like you're steering the ship again.
Exactly. We try to manufacture control.
And her reaction to that was to panic pivot into passion projects. She launched this artisanal candle business.
Of course she did.
Right. Picture this highly trained data scientist spending her days drowning in existential dread over the specific melting points of different soy waxes.
Oh, man.
And trying to optimize glass jar inventory. And then when that stalled out, she was actually sketching out the supply chain logistics to become a high-end heirloom tomato vendor.
Wait, tomatoes? Really?
Tomatoes. Bleeding your savings dry in the process?
See, she was trying to engineer her way out of an emotional crisis. She was basically applying corporate optimization tactics to ideas that had no fundamental market validation.
But the turning point came when her analytical training finally kicked back in.
Ah.
She had this realization that she was taking all these polite rejection emails and failed product launches as, deeply personal indictments of her self-worth.
Which is so easy to do when you're in that vulnerable state.
Definitely.
Dang.
So she flipped the script. She decided to start treating those failures simply as noisy data.
I love that phrase, noisy data.
Yeah, she turned the wreckage of her career into a laboratory.
And that shift from personal failure to objective data collection, that's the engine behind her entire methodology.
So that brings us to our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack the specific, highly practical framework she built from that data.
We're going to explore how you can bypass the superficial fluff, skip the startup fantasies, and build what she calls a minimum viable business that actually pays your rent in 30 days.
Let's start right there, actually. How do we get from crying over melted candle wax to building a functional revenue-generating system?
It feels like a massive leap, doesn't it?
It really does. The gap between those two states seems enormous, especially if you have, zero entrepreneurial experience.
Well, the bridge across that gap requires abandoning what she calls the startup myth.
The startup myth?
Yeah, it's this pervasive cultural illusion that you need to look perfectly polished and fully established before you're even allowed to ask someone for money.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think a lot of people fall for that.
So to combat this, she strips a business down to its absolute bare essentials. She calls it the minimum viable business, or MVB.
Right, the MVB. And according to her framework, an MVB only requires 3 elements. Just 3.
Which is so liberating if you think about it.
It really is. It's an offer, a price, and a contact method.
Yeah.
So like a phone number or an email address. Everything else is a distraction.
Because it strips away all the places a new entrepreneur can hide.
Hide? What do you mean?
Well, the website, the automated scheduling app, the branded merchandise, those are enhancements to a business. They are not prerequisites.
Oh, I see.
If you have a service you can perform, a number you will accept to perform it, and a way for a client to reach you, you have a business.
The story of Tom versus Dave from her book illustrates this so sharply. It's the real-world version of the scenario we opened with.
Oh, I love this example.
Right. So Tom decides he wants to start a pool maintenance business.
Yeah.
And he spends 4 months in full preparation mode.
4 months.
4 months. He built a comprehensive 5-page website with an integrated booking form. He designs a custom logo. He orders magnetic signs for his truck. And yep, he gets those branded polo shirts.
Of course.
4 months of intense, dedicated work, and he gets 0 customers.
Because Tom was just playing business.
Playing business.
Yeah, he was doing tasks that felt like work, but they carried absolutely 0 risk of rejection from the actual market.
Meanwhile, his neighbor Dave starts the exact same pool maintenance business.
Same exact business.
But Dave just has a phone number and a price in his head. He walks into a local copy shop, spends $6 printing out basic flyers, and then he just physically stuffs them into the mailboxes of houses where he can see a pool in the backyard.
And the result?
Dave had 11 paying clients in his first month.
Exactly. Because Dave built an MVB. He presented an offer, named his price, and gave the neighborhood a way to contact him.
Okay, let's unpack this, though. I need to push back on this concept just a little bit.
Go for it.
The Tom versus Dave example is great, but operating without a website in the modern economy feels inherently unprofessional.
I hear that all the time.
Right. I mean, it feels like telling someone to run a lemonade stand and call it a corporate enterprise. Doesn't the lack of a digital footprint just destroy a customer's trust?
That is the natural objection, but it really misunderstands the psychology of early-stage entrepreneurship.
How so?
Spending weeks designing a website or choosing the perfect shade of blue for a logo, it gives you a massive dopamine hit. It feels like forward progress.
Right, you feel productive.
But the author identifies this behavior as productive procrastination.
Productive procrastination. So basically, hiding behind a beautifully designed Canva graphic so nobody can actually tell you your idea is terrible.
Exactly. Every hour you spend obsessing over SEO optimization or website copy before you have a single paying customer is an hour you are actively avoiding the market.
Oh, wow. It's a defense mechanism.
It is. It protects your ego from the terrifying vulnerability of asking a real human being to hand you their hard-earned money.
That makes so much sense.
The MVB forces you to confront the market immediately. The cortisol spike of actual market rejection is the only thing that provides real data.
So if you can't get one person to say yes to your basic offer on a $6 flyer, building a slick website isn't going to magically fix your lack of demand.
Precisely. You have to prove the fundamental transaction works before you scale the infrastructure.
If we think about Kay's background as a data scientist, we could look at it like this. If you don't run a baseline test to see if the core code functions, building a beautiful user interface on top of it is just a complete waste of time.
That is the perfect way to look at it. Validate the core transaction first.
Which brings us directly to the second element of the MVB, the price.
Yes, pricing. This is huge.
Once you stop procrastinating and put your basic offer out there, you are forced to attach a number to it. And this leads to what she considers the single most dangerous trap for new businesses: underpricing.
The urge to underprice yourself is deeply ingrained. I mean, when you're just starting out, you lack a portfolio, you don't have 55-star Google reviews, and you might feel a profound sense of imposter syndrome.
Totally.
So the immediate reflexive assumption is that you must offer a massive discount to convince anyone to take a risk on you.
It feels like the only lever you have to pull to get someone's attention. Like if I can't compete on reputation, I have to compete on cost.
But what's fascinating here is how the pricing psychology trap reveals that this logic completely backfires. It creates this cascading series of failures.
Okay, walk us through that.
First, when you race to the bottom on price, you attract highly price-sensitive clients.
Which sounds good at first, right? Customers are customers.
You'd think so, but no. These are historically the least loyal customers in any market. They aren't loyal to your service or your brand. They are loyal only to the bargain.
Oh.
The second a competitor offers the same service for $5 less, they'll abandon you.
You're basically building a customer base out of sand.
Exactly. Second, underpricing creates fundamentally unsustainable economics. If you charge half the going rate, you have to take on twice the volume of work just to keep the lights on.
And that leads straight to physical and mental burnout.
Right. And third, it establishes a permanent expectation. When you inevitably realize you need to raise your rates to survive, those early clients are going to push back.
Because they only hired you for the discount in the first place.
They'll feel betrayed.
And she makes a brilliant point regarding the psychology of the buyer here. Her rule is that price is the first signal quality sense.
That is such a crucial concept.
Yeah. Customers unconsciously infer the value of your work from the cost you attach to it. So if you drastically underprice a service, the customer doesn't think, wow, what a great deal from a scrappy newcomer.
Right.
They think, wait, why is this so cheap? What is wrong with it? Are they cutting corners?
It signals a lack of confidence. If you don't believe your time and effort are worth the market rate, the customer will instinctively agree with you.
An aggressively low price doesn't feel like a steal. It feels like a liability.
Precisely.
Here is where I struggle with this, though. Let's say I'm starting a pool cleaning business tomorrow, and I have zero commercial experience. How can I ethically charge the same midpoint rate as the company across town that has been doing it for 5 years?
That's the mental hurdle everyone faces.
Right. Like, how do you justify asking for that number when you are brand new? It's like trying to price a house without looking at the neighborhood.
It's a vital question, and it really comes down to understanding what the customer is actually buying.
Okay.
You assume the customer is only paying for the technical perfection of the task, the physical act of skimming the pool.
Sure.
But in reality, particularly in service businesses, the customer is paying for a broader suite of professional behaviors.
Like what?
They're paying for someone who answers the phone promptly, who shows up exactly when they say they will, who communicates clearly if there's a delay, and who treats their property with respect.
So you're charging for baseline reliability, which frankly is incredibly rare.
Exactly. You might be slower at the physical task because you're new, but you can immediately match or even exceed the 5-year veteran in communication, reliability, and customer service.
That makes total sense. That professional, friction-free experience is what justifies the market rate, not just the physical labor.
Right.
So what does this all mean for the listener? How do they actually pick that number without guessing?
She provides a very clear 3-step pricing framework to remove all the guesswork.
Oh, perfect.
Step 1 is to find your market anchor by researching 3 comparable local operators. You literally just call them, check their websites, or ask for quotes to figure out the standard range in your specific area.
Okay, step 1 is the anchor, and step 2?
Step 2 is calculating your absolute floor. You have to understand your own math before you look at the market.
Right.
This means calculating the cost of your materials, your software subscriptions, taxes, and crucially, the livable wage you need to extract from the business for it to be sustainable.
So if your absolute floor is higher than the top of the market rate you found in step 1,
then your business model is fundamentally broken before you even start. The math has to work.
Got it. And the final step?
That leads to step 3, which is where you set the actual launch price. You set your price at or slightly above the midpoint of that local market range.
You intentionally place yourself in the middle of the pack. You never aim for the bottom.
Never the bottom. You are not trying to be the cheapest option. You are trying to be the most reliable, high-value option at a fair price.
I love that.
Because the type of clients who will sustain a business long-term, the ones who respect your time and pay their invoices on time, they're looking for trust and competence. The midpoint price signals that competence.
All right, so let's take stock for a second.
Yeah.
We've bypassed the productive procrastination.
Yes.
We have our minimum viable business, a clear offer, a carefully calculated midpoint price that signals quality, and a simple phone number.
You're ready to go.
Now we face the actual terrifying part. We need human beings to hand us money.
Always the hardest part.
How does an unknown entity get a paying customer within 30 days without dropping thousands of dollars on digital advertising?
This brings us to her 3-layer customer acquisition strategy. And her very first directive is going to sound like absolute heresy to modern digital marketers.
Oh.
She argues that for a 30-day launch, you must completely ignore SEO, search engine optimization, paid digital ads, and organic social media growth.
Ignore SEO entirely. I mean, that goes against almost every piece of startup advice out there. Everyone says you need to game the Google algorithm so people can find you.
It's about recognizing the timeline of those strategies.
Okay.
Trying to build organic search traffic or cultivate a massive following on TikTok takes months, if not years, of consistent effort to generate a single reliable client.
If true.
If your timeline is 30 days and your goal is to pay your rent, you just do not have the luxury of waiting for an algorithm to favor you. You have to utilize direct, immediate outreach across 3 distinct layers.
Okay, so layer 1 is your immediate network. She suggests identifying 20 people you already know.
Right.
But there is a very specific psychological trick here. You don't reach out and ask, hey, do you want to buy my new service?
No, definitely don't do that.
Instead, you ask them, do you know anyone who might find this useful?
That subtle shift in phrasing is brilliant because it entirely changes the interpersonal dynamic.
How so?
If I asked you directly to buy my service, I've just cornered you. It's a high-pressure sales pitch. You might feel incredibly awkward saying no, or you might feel obligated to say yes just to preserve our friendship.
Which leads to a strained dynamic later. It basically turns a casual relationship into a transactional one.
Exactly.
Which makes the next dinner party extremely uncomfortable.
Nobody wants that. But by asking, do you know anyone who might need this? I completely remove the pressure from you.
Oh, I see.
I'm not asking for your money. I'm just asking for a low-stakes favor. This engages your brain to scan your own network.
Because humans actually enjoy playing matchmaker and connecting people.
Right.
It provides a sense of social currency.
Yes. It gives your network an easy, pressure-free way to say yes and support you.
Okay, that's layer 1. That brings us to layer 2, local community channels. Here's where it gets really interesting.
I think this is my favorite layer.
She points out that in our rush to reach a global audience on the internet, we completely overlook the people living on our actual street. Proximity is a massive, highly underrated competitive advantage.
Physical proximity builds automatic, unearned trust. Think about it. If I'm scrolling through my neighborhood next door app and see a post from someone living 2 streets over offering landscaping services, I am fundamentally more likely to trust them than a polished, sponsored ad on Google from a company across the state.
Because you share a community, which implies a level of shared accountability.
Exactly.
This is exactly why Dave's $6 flyers worked. He didn't try to outsmart a global algorithm. He just put a piece of paper directly into the hands of someone who owned a pool in his zip code.
It's so beautifully simple.
And this layer involves utilizing local Facebook buy-sell trade groups, community forums, and literal physical bulletin boards at local laundromats, coffee shops, and libraries.
For many service-based businesses, simply dominating your own immediate zip code is more than enough to fill your schedule for the entire first year.
Okay, so you've engaged your friends and you've blanketed the local coffee shops. What happens when you tap those out?
Well, that leads to layer 3, targeted outreach.
Targeted outreach. So how does that work?
This is how you scale beyond your immediate geography and warm contacts. If you're operating a B2B model, so business to business, this means sending direct, highly personalized messages to decision makers on platforms like LinkedIn.
Okay.
If you are a local service, it means utilizing direct mail, like sending 50-cent postcards to specific neighborhoods.
See, direct mail feels so antiquated, but the book notes that it's highly effective right now precisely because it has almost no competition.
Exactly.
Like everyone is fighting a brutal war for a fraction of a second of attention in an overflowing email inbox, while the physical residential mailbox is largely empty.
It's the ultimate contrarian strategy. Go where the noise isn't.
Right.
But the final component of targeted outreach is definitely the most intimidating. Literal door-to-door or in-person visits.
Oh, man.
Walking into a local business, introducing yourself, leaving a card, and having a face-to-face conversation.
Okay, I have to stop and address the elephant in the room. Directly messaging strangers on LinkedIn or literally walking up and knocking on a stranger's door is terrifying.
It is. It really is.
The fear of direct rejection is visceral. People gravitate towards social media marketing specifically because it feels safer. You post a slick reel, you hide behind your screen, and if nobody likes it, it doesn't sting the way a door slammed in your face does.
Your observation gets to the very core of her thesis. Social media marketing does feel safer. It perfectly insulates you from direct rejection.
Right.
And that feeling of safety is exactly why it is a deadly trap for a 30-day launch.
Because safe doesn't equal fast.
Because it feels safe and insulated, millions of people choose that route. that makes the digital space incredibly noisy, crowded, and slow.
Which means you're invisible.
Building an audience is a completely valid strategy for year 2 of a business. But in month 1, when you need to prove your model works and generate actual cash flow, you have to be willing to do the unglamorous, highly uncomfortable work of reaching real people in real time.
Wow.
You have to risk the immediate no to find the immediate yes. The discomfort you feel during direct outreach is simply the price you pay for speed.
That is a harsh but vital reality check. If you want a business that actually makes money, you cannot just play business on Instagram. You have to embrace the friction of real-world conversations.
You have to strip away the vanity metrics, the likes, the followers, the website traffic, and focus entirely on validating the transaction.
Okay, so synthesizing all of this, for anyone listening who might be navigating their own messy middle or, just trying to get a new venture off the ground.
Yeah, let's bring it all together.
Survival requires entirely ditching those polished Silicon Valley startup fantasies. You do not need a logo to begin. You need a minimum viable business.
And offer, a price, a contact method.
Exactly. That means defining a clear offer, calculating a midpoint price that signals quality and keeps you out of the burnout trap, and establishing a simple way for people to contact you.
And once you have that MVB, you bypass the slow, safe digital marketing channels. You work outward, layer by layer.
Starting with layer 1.
Right. You start with your immediate network using the low-pressure referral question. Then you move to your local community, leveraging the automatic trust of geographic proximity.
And then the scary part.
And finally, yes, you embrace the discomfort of targeted, direct outreach to scale.
It's really about replacing the existential dread of melting candle wax with the clarity of noisy data, immediate action, and real human conversations.
I love how you phrase that. It really changes the entire paradigm of how we view our own professional worth.
It absolutely does.
We spent a lot of time today discussing how the price you set acts as the very first signal of quality to the market. But I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder, which extends far beyond just starting a small business.
Yeah, what it?
If price is the initial signal of quality you send out into the world, what does your current compensation, whether that's in a company you're building, a salary negotiation at your corporate job, or even freelance work you do on the side, what does that number signal about how you view your own value?
Well,
Are you accidentally branding yourself as a risk by asking for too little?
that is exactly the kind of question that forces you to reevaluate everything.
Yeah.
Are you pricing yourself like a bargain bin risk or a high-value professional?
It's worth thinking about.
It really is. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Take that idea you have been overthinking, build your minimum viable business today, and just go ask 20 people if they know anyone who needs it. We will see you next time.